Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike, and today, because it is the end of the year, as of the time of recording this, it is in fact New Year's Eve. So it is the final day of the year. It's time to talk about the best movies of the year, the most surprising, the most entertaining movies, and the most emotionally relevant films that I saw all year. So, with that out of the way, let's just dive into this list. So going into this, for reference, this is the best movies that I saw out of all 182 films that I saw this year. Not as many as some of my friends have, which is really surprising because there weren't that many great movies this year that I really, really wanted to see. So I didn't end up seeing maybe as many as most people, or some people, I should say, not most. But yeah, this is my favorites of my 182 movies. And also, just a preface, after I get to my number 6, before number 5, I'm going to go through my top 10 most surprising movies, just like how I did my most disappointing movies for my worst list. And also, just to give a couple honorable mentions, actually a lot of honorable mentions, we are going to just name drop a bunch. So yeah, let's just dive into this. Honorable mentions, we have Five Nights at Freddy's, Blackberry, Saltburn, Maestro, Barbie, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It didn't make the list, unfortunately. I know it's like another number one for a lot of you guys. I just think it's incomplete, but yeah. Renfield, The Flash, Scream 6, The Super Mario Bros. Movie, Air, Wonka, Killers of the Flower Moon, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, When Evil Lurks, and Dumb Money. So, the rest is up to you to figure out where the rest of these movies that ended up on my list, whether it was the best or most surprising movies, but you'll have to see. So, let's kick this off with number 10. Coming in at my number 10 is my favorite animated movie of the whole year, and that is TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. This movie was just a blast to see in the theaters. I love the Turtles. They're some of my favorite, comic book characters of all time, and seeing this on the big screen was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Love the voice cast. Love how, they focus on embracing the teenage side of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Um, Absolutely amazing visual style. Love that. The only nitpick I can really give it is the fact that some of the villains are a little bit misused here and there, but really, other than that, I loved this movie, and that's the only complaint I could give it. Number 9 is my favorite slasher movie of the year, and that is Thanksgiving. So this one was just a really fun time to see in the theaters. I really enjoyed the characters, loved this new villain that we get, John Carver. And I really just enjoyed seeing this in the theaters so much. I got my grandpa to go with me, and we both saw it twice, which is actually surprising. But it's kind of another story for it's a story for another day. Only saw like the first 20 minutes for the second time, but yeah, this was the first movie I saw for the second time in the theaters as well. So well deserved, first timer. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. So yeah, it comes in at my number 9. Number 8 is Evil Dead Rise. Now, this is probably my second favorite horror movie of the year, I want to say, just behind another one, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But this movie was fantastic. It's a very, enclosed movie, enclosed horror movie. Amazing opening sequence with like one of the best title cards ever, I want to say. And also just some fantastic performances, specifically from Alyssa Sutherland, who plays the mom. Creepy, to say the least. She was fantastic in the movie. Love the kid performances, and the third act is amazing and everything I want from an Evil Dead movie. Number 8. Number 7 is my favorite sci-fi movie of the year, I believe. And that is The Creator. This one I saw in the theaters, and I really enjoyed it. Really dug it. And this second time I watched it, I loved it even more. Even it felt even more emotionally relevant to me. And the visuals for just an $80 million budget movie is fantastic. Love the characters. Just absolutely love this movie, and I love talking to people about this movie who've seen it and also recommending it to people because I'm it's just really fun to turn people on to watching movies like this. So yeah, number 7. Number 6 is my favorite horror movie of the entire year, and that is A24's Talk to Me. This was such a blast to see in the theaters. I absolutely loved it. Set up this really cool little universe involving these like hands from a like a like a witch or something like that. That if you shake hands with it and say some words, then you get to talk to ghosts, and ghosts can possess you as long as you let go of your, or as long as you like hold on to the hand. So yeah, love this movie, and it's really impressive that a couple of YouTubers were able to make it. Very fun movie. All right, now it's time to get to the most surprising movies I saw all year. Number 10, we have Cobweb, which was a horror movie that literally came out of nowhere. I heard some really good reviews for it. That's why it's only at my number 10. But this movie got like buried by the studio when it got released. It was a really big shame because this movie is fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Felt like if Stephen King wrote Malignant, and I mean that in every single good way possible. Absolutely love this movie. Yeah. Number 9, Joyride, the raunchy comedy from this year. It's not, the most like original movie. It's very cliche, like in the third act, but I can't not recommend this movie because it is such a blast, such a hilarious movie. I absolutely love it. VHS 85 at number 8. This one, this was the first of the VHS Shudder movies that I watched, and I couldn't be more surprised by this movie because this probably has my favorite horror short film of all time, which is um, the short by Scott Derrickson in this movie. I don't remember what it's called for some reason, even though it's amazing. Uh, I absolutely really enjoyed that short, and really enjoyed this movie as a whole because just a big surprise because I can't stand the first VHS, and then went back after watching this one and watched the other Shudder movies, and those are also really good. And then also went back and watched VHS 2, and then I remembered why I didn't like the first movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed 85. Fantastic little anthology film that I highly recommend. Uh, A Haunting in Venice, number 7. This was the first of the Hercule Poirot, whatever you want to call him. I think it's Poirot. I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah, this is the first of his movies that I saw in the theaters. The Kenneth Branagh, Agatha Christie adaptations, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Actually, it's a very interesting little movie, and after watching this, I wanted to go back and rewatch the first two, and actually enjoyed them a lot more than I remembered. So yeah, really enjoyed Haunting in Venice. Number 6, Blue Beetle, a movie that I expected just to be super generic and ended up having a blast with it. Number 5, Gran Turismo, arguably the best video game movie of all time. I absolutely loved it. Rewatching it, it's actually really good too. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that one. And then number 4, Saw X, a movie that I didn't expect to love, but man, was it a surprise that I absolutely loved this movie and is the best Saw sequel. Uh, I can say that without a doubt in my mind that this is the best Saw sequel, bar none. Probably even better made than the first movie, but just because I have like a little bit of nostalgia bias for the first movie, I prefer the first one, but still absolutely love Saw X. Number 3, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This one came out of nowhere, basically. The trailers didn't really look amazing, but I wanted to go see it anyhow. I do enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, even though I've only played it like twice. So yeah, really surprised by this one. Number 2, a movie that I saw the trailer for in front of John Wick Chapter 4 and saw it nowhere else. Sisu, a movie that I did not expect anything from. Even the beginning of the trailer was like, "Oh, this looks kind of boring," and then as soon as you get the stab in the head from the main guy, the gold digger, it just looked awesome. And then I saw it and I loved it. Uh, just a really fun little throwback action movie. It's kind of like just finished John Wick, and I loved it. But my number 1 most surprising movie was a movie that I thought that looked terrible, but I ended up really enjoying it, and that is No Hard Feelings. just a riot of a movie that I could not hold back my laughter watching. It's just genuinely a surprising film that caught me off guard for sure. I'm glad I watched it because it is fantastic. All right, heading back into the best of list, we have my number five, probably the most surprising movie, but I didn't want to include it twice. Godzilla minus one. I did not expect anything from this movie. I saw the trailer and I thought it looked pretty good. I didn't think it was going to be amazing by any means. And then early reviews dropped for it. And then everyone was hyping it up. Everyone said it was amazing. And then I saw it for myself and I adored it. This movie was genuinely amazing. For less than $15 million, the director confirmed. He said that in an interview, is it true that this movie only cost $15 million? He's like, I wish it did. And so it was less than $15 million that this movie was made for, and it looks incredible for that much. There's some amazing performances. You actually care about the humans. Godzilla is a tyrant in this movie, man. He is crazy. Absolutely loved this movie so much. So yeah, it comes in on my number five. Barely any nitpicks or complaints that I could give this movie. Number four, we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I'm not going to call it Dead Reckoning Part 1 because apparently they're changing the title of Part 2, so it's not really Part 2, but, you know, they might just keep it a Dead Reckoning Part 2. I'm not really sure. But anyway, this is supposed to be supposedly the cap off of the, like, Part 1 of the cap off of the saga, and I love this movie. This is a perfect action movie that I can nitpick. I think it's kind of weird that, kind of a spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but that Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson, is killed off in the first like 20 minutes of the movie and then is actually killed off like halfway through the movie, and I just thought that was really weird. But yeah, that's like the only little nitpick that I can give this movie. I still absolutely love seeing this on the big screen. Love this movie. I need to rewatch it too. Number three, the most visually pleasing movie of the year, I will say, and that is Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer that made bukus of money, all thanks to Barbenheimer, this big phenomenon that happened this year. And honestly, I mean, I prefer this over Barbie, obviously, because Barbie's not on this list, but Oppenheimer was a fantastic little film. For $100 million, no CGI apparently. Even the explosion wasn't CGI. It was amazing. I loved this movie so much. Incredible film. 3 hours went by so fast. I don't think I've had a 3 hour movie go by this fast. Besides maybe my number one, which we'll get to in just a second. But yeah, I absolutely love Oppenheimer. My number three of the year. Number two, Alexander Payne's The Holdovers. I am brand new to Alexander Payne's filmography. I've maybe only seen like 2 films from him, but they weren't movies that amazed me by any means. And this past month, like in terms of like actual time period, not like in the month of December, I ended up seeing 2 Alexander Payne movies that I absolutely adored. We'll be talking about the other one in my wrap up video, so stay tuned for that. But The Holdovers was amazing. I absolutely adored The Holdovers, man. Payne's best, I think. Christmas classic in my opinion now. Absolutely loved it. Number two. But coming in at my number one is my favorite action movie of the entire year. A movie that was at my number one when I first saw it, and then moved down, moved back up, moved back down, moved back up, like constantly. And I could not make up my mind about this movie. But every single time I watched it, I remembered how much I loved it. And that is John Wick Chapter 4. I adore this movie. This movie is stunning. On an action standpoint, it is groundbreaking. I love this movie so much. And for $100 million or whatever the budget was, this movie is remarkable. Keanu Reeves, maybe while he gives some really cheesy lines, I still think he's badass. I absolutely adore John Wick Chapter 4. One of my favorite movies of all time. One of my favorite action movies ever. Truly remarkable what this film was able to accomplish with $100 million. I absolutely love it. So there you guys go. That's my top 10 of the year. Let me know what your guys' top 10 favorites are, and let me know what your most surprising films of the year are. And if you want to give me more than 10 movies, go right ahead. I think that this year was packed full of really, really good movies. But there are some not great ones, so go ahead and check out my worst of the year. Hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos in 2024. So, yeah, peace out, everybody.